graduated. Now what? So, hi, sorry for not posting for like 8-ish months. I was busy graduating and focusing on everything that leads up to graduation, etc. Except I actually can't use that excuse in this context. I graduated in December and it's April now. Actually, no, it is May 1st. So, even worse. So, now what? Initially, I was constantly applying to different jobs. I downloaded all the apps and was looking for any kind of marketing related job or event planning or just anything in that realm. I did this back in November and December, so it was a good maybe month of looking for jobs daily, but this was so draining and I realized I was just applying to whatever I could find, all while knowing that even if I got one of these jobs, I definitely would not be happy at all. Even when I was searching for jobs, almost every job opening was for some new generative AI company, and being an artist and a creative and a human being on this very earth and planet, I just simply am not willing to set my morals aside and give in to the rise of generative AI, knowing the damage that it does. I remember telling my parents all about this and how stressful it was becoming for me because I just felt really pressured to find a job right away because it was already weeks before I was about to graduate and I still hadn't found anything, even though they didn't even really care if I had a job or not. It's just kind of always been the path that, you're expected to take and the one that you're introduced to as a kid. It's school, job, money, life, etc. But the world is so different from when that path was initially introduced to me as a kid, and I was just feeling very hopeless at the time. I was constantly thinking I'm a college graduate. I have a degree. Why am I only eligible for the same exact jobs that high school graduates are eligible for, which is crazy because on top of being a college graduate, I also had experience in running my own small business and hosting and vending at local pop-up events. And I also had 2 internships under my belt at that point. So I took my mom's advice and took a break from the hardcore job search. And I still occasionally look at the job notifications that Indeed or ZipRecruiter sends me. But as always, the notification is usually from a new generative AI company or just something that I'm not interested in. I made that decision about a week before I graduated, and although the actual ceremony was very overstimulating for me, keep in mind I was a completely online student for 3.5 years, so I didn't know anyone, and I'm also definitely not in tune with other business students. My regular interactions are my family, my close friends, who are all gamers. Our interactions are when we are on the game, and other than that, it's other people who are fully immersed in fan and internet culture at pop-up events and conventions. So I just felt very out of place in general, and it was a very fish out of water experience, and I genuinely felt like I was having flashbacks to high school where I was once again the weird, quiet, awkward, brown Asian girl. And yeah, anyways, mini rant aside, although the actual ceremony was very overstimulating for me, I genuinely felt so free and so excited for my future, and even made a vision board and plan out all these goals for 2026, and I felt really confident in what I was going to accomplish and what I wanted to work towards. And then the new year actually came. I underestimated how low my motivation would drop because of the lack of urgency I felt in getting all of my things together. I grew up being very centered around my academics, and I mean straight A's every quarter and semester. I was spending hours on my homework every night, and my notes were always very thorough. I would carry and take charge of every single group project. So without having any more school to pace myself with, I was feeling very lost. And I also was just so tired from how hard I was working while I was in school, especially that last year or even those last 2 years, that I just felt like I deserved a break. I wanted to play my silly video games on my new PC. In January, I focused on picking up everything that I actually had been putting off while I was in school. Being very real, that is probably what overwhelmed me the most. I had, in my last semester, probably, I picked up the habit of saying, oh, I'll do it when I graduate, or something along those lines, for like a majority of the things I wanted to do, at least pertaining to like my creative endeavors or anything I wanted to do to expand my small business. Even like learning how to drive or learning how to do basic life skills, I was like, yeah, I'll do it when I graduate. Yeah. So once I graduated, I immediately felt like I had so much to do, and because there was so much, I felt like giving up. Even though I knew like I had all the time in the world, I still felt like, oh, I'm behind. Behind what? I don't know. I spent a little over a month designing my website, and I launched it in February, but before that, again, still in January, I was a vendor at my friend Robin's Animal Crossing cup sleeve event, which went so well and was so fun and was a really nice just start to the year. And then I decided to take a break from events in February and March. In February, I turned 22 on 2/22, and my small business also celebrated its 4-year anniversary on that same day. And then in March, I took that month to not only celebrate my best friend's birthday, but also I launched my first website exclusive drop. And this exclusive drop was titled Be Whimsy. And there's nothing too deep behind it or the name. It was kind of just a bunch of one-of-one pieces that I upcycled, crocheted, or made, or whatever. And I was just kind of looking for a general common theme, and I felt that Biba Doobie's aesthetics really matched them, so I called it Be Whimsy. In terms of how the drop did, I only actually sold one piece on the initial drop, but it was to one of my really good artist and vendor friends, Hayden. So if you are watching this, thank you, bro. I was only partially discouraged by the turnout though, because I knew it wasn't the fault of my actual products or anything that I was making, but rather my marketing tactics, because I didn't have any models to do any full-scale photo shoots or even half-scale. Honestly, I was just taking pictures of everything and posting them and hoping for the best, because I really wanted to get the collection out so I could start working on other things, if I'm being very honest. But I know for sure that my sales would have boosted tenfold if I had actually had photo shoots with models. It was around this time I definitely started feeling a little lost, especially because I hadn't been doing any events. I wanted to make money before con season, because I knew I was going to spend a lot of money during con season, and I just felt very behind because I wasn't accomplishing every single one of the goals that I had set for the first quarter of the year. I would talk about my struggles around that time, and sometimes even now, honestly, with my friends and with my family, and everyone would always tell me, dude, you're actually doing fine, you're doing better and more than most people, or like, dude, you literally just made a website and you're like TikTok famous or something, just like literally anything along those lines. And I was still constantly getting in my head, just thinking that, oh, I'm so far behind because I didn't complete 2 goals on my list for the quarter. And in case you're wondering what those goals are, the 2 goals that I did not accomplish, the first was to release a crochet pattern that ultimately I ended up giving up on, simply because the design was a crochet shrug, and not only do I feel there are so many iterations and designs for the crochet shrug, and it's also something you can easily get on Shein now because how many iterations there have been. It's honestly also just something that I don't feel I would wear, so I didn't really feel comfortable designing it for other people to make and wear. And the second goal that I did not accomplish was to fully catch up on editing and posting all of the vlogs and videos that I had planned for YouTube that I filmed last year. And clearly we are here months later, so I still have not finished that, but I mean, you're watching this, so it means I'm working on it. And then suddenly I got invited to do 2 different events in March, and these were the 2 weekends before Anime Las Vegas, which was just perfect timing for me. And these were both hosted by my artist and vendor friend Giselle, who, if she's watching this, hi. We were just talking today. She is honestly such a sweet and fun event host, and it's really nice to meet other local creatives that you just click with very easily and instantly. And when I got that message from her, I knew that those 2 events and getting back into doing events again, that was exactly what I needed. And the community was exactly what I needed when I was feeling so frustrated with where I was. I think most importantly, I needed to realize that in the career path I'm in, and honestly, I think just in your 20s in general, and in our generation, in our time in general, there's not just one ladder, one path, one tunnel that you're meant to follow. It's like a choice game adventure where you kind of just take or pass on the opportunities that are given and presented to you. Because even though I didn't accomplish those 2 goals, I picked up 2 crochet commissions, and I got accepted to be a merch designer and an artist for a very secret project in the fall. And I went to karaoke for the first time with my friends. I went to the aquarium for the first time since I was a baby kid. I've been learning how to DJ, and I've been making new art pieces that I can fully say that I am proud of, and I feel that I've truly been evolving in my art style and my art process so much. I spent so much time worrying about being behind or not enough for myself or for other people, and focusing on what I failed to do, that I wasn't giving myself enough credit for what I had actually managed to accomplish. So I guess in response to I graduated, now what, I'd say I'm free. I'm doing what makes me happy, and I'm doing it at a pace that I'm comfortable with. I'm also very grateful every day that I am lucky enough to have Filipino parents who support my dreams, plans, goals in full, because I would never be able to accomplish what I have so far without them. And even if I might not be exactly where I thought I would be, even, I don't know, like a few months ago, maybe that's a good thing, because maybe I'm exactly where I need to be. If you watch this all the way through, thank you so much. And I hope this resonated with you, or I don't know, something along those lines. I've never made a video like this, and I honestly had a really good time putting this together. So maybe I will do another little yap sesh again sometime. I'm really looking forward to coming back to YouTube with all of the vlogs from last year that I mentioned earlier. But anyways, like, subscribe, share, or whatever. I think it does help my reach, but I've never really gotten that far to find out. But I do really want to get monetized eventually, so whatever helps. I'm also Mahal Made Co. on Instagram, TikTok, and Tumblr. And this print that you've been seeing, however I end up putting it on the screen, is available now on my website, mahalmade.co. And yeah, it's also on my Etsy, which is also Mahal Made Co. Anyways, thank you again for watching. See you soon. Bye.